Go on, thank you.
Okay, it's July 11th. I'm going to call the Selectmen's meeting to order. First order of business is the salute flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public input. You're not on the agenda. Do you want to do whatever you're going to do?
Wait.
You're going to go wait? All right. Any public input?
No.
All right. Next order of business is review and approval of the minutes. First minutes are Monday, June 27th, 4:30.
I'll move to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second for comment. I just think we need a little more reflection of actual testimonies. So I know that we had some back and forth with the chief of police. We had some back and forth with Chris Rural. So just a brief summary of that I think would be helpful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
And then we have non-public at 6:40 PM.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
I'm not sure that these need to remain sealed.
Well, they do until we consummate the deal, and then we'll unseal them.
Okay.
That's generally how we do it.
Okay.
Second set of non-public for 6:50 PM.
I'll move to approve as written.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
These can, I'm gonna make a motion that we unseal these.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we have a public hearing for the placement of signage on Central Park bike trails. I imagine that's why you're here, buddy.
No, it's not. It was really brought to my attention by a member of the Conservation Commission, and we met, talked about it. I brought it to you people the last meeting, and we opted to have a public meeting, but it's certainly something we're concerned about, both as Parks and Rec and Conservation, about the use of motorized
All right,
vehicles.
let me just read what we've got here. So I'm gonna call a public hearing to order. And the notice is Town of Tuftonboro, pursuant to RSA 41:11-A, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing to accept placement of signage to prohibit the use of motorized vehicles on the bike trails behind Central Park. The hearing will take place Monday, July 11th at 9 AM, 9:04, 240 Middle Road.
So just a correction on that, those aren't bike trails out there yet, those are hiking trails right now, which is one of our concerns. It's biking trails and hiking trails are different, where the gravel under a biking trail is designed to withstand the wheeled vehicles, and what we have out there is just wooded paths, really. And our concern is that the ATVs will just churn that up and run it all up. So just to clarify, they're not bike trails out there right now, they're hiking trails.
Is it currently,
Sorry.
yeah, we're not gonna allow day trading in. So is it currently a problem? I guess that's.
So I guess one of the neighbors of Buddy, the park, called one of the Conservation Commission members and complained about the ATVs running through those trails out there. And that's the only reason that we knew about it. So the neighbors are complaining.
Okay.
But the ruts and everything like that.
Yeah, the ruts, our concern is the ruts, really, is when they, because it's all pretty soft and,
Right. And there's no, I don't know if there is, so maybe somebody can enlighten me, is that there are no restrictions on summer use of the power lines and that sort of thing for ATVs where the snowmobiles run?
I have no idea, I mean,
I have none.
Yeah, I don't think there is any. So it isn't as if we're eliminating the use of somebody's ATV townwide. We're just,
no, we're just focused right on the park behind the fire station and just the trails that run within that park. I mean, you know, we're okay, the Conservation Commission's okay when we build the bike trails out there for the bikes and everything to go through there, but right now, the condition of the floor of the, it's just not meant for that type of a heavy-duty use.
So would you want to change the wording to, these trails are restricted to foot traffic only?
That would be better, but, you know,
well,
I don't know how much bike traffic is really out there because it's really not very conducive to wheeled vehicles. I mean, it's very soft and mucky and,
right. I mean, I don't know that we need to worry about changing the wording of the public hearing, but whatever signage goes together, who's doing the signs?
well, we will do the signs.
Okay. So do we have comment on what the sign should be? I mean, do we want to limit it to just walking, or do we want to allow mountain biking?
That would be the recommendation of Steve.
Yeah, I would
I made
really,
my suggestion.
yeah, I actually like Bob's suggestion. It would be better because, you know, because it's not designed for wheeled vehicles out there, they tend to run it all up, and that's our concern. So it would be better if we kept it to foot traffic,
Right.
but, you know,
Is there movement on the bike trail construction or
Well,
whatever?
we thought we had a good lead, but we needed 3 quotes on the bike trail, and we got one. We thought we had 2 more, and they both were too busy to do it, so as a result, we missed the deadline, so that would have been a good hit. You know, basically now we just have the grant we got from the electric company and passed the hat on it, so.
so what we're doing is the RTP, the Retail Trails Program from the Highway Department, we were going to apply for that, which would give us almost the full amount, the $55,000, but they had a requirement when we went to the meeting where they defined the requirements for the grant. The state requires 3 bids, and we only had 1, and we didn't have enough time to get another 2 bids. So our intentions is on the next cycle of the grants to
Right,
apply for those
that.
grants.
Okay. Yeah, so this isn't, the proposal isn't to ban wheeled vehicles forevermore, it's just until we get our trail system in there that can handle it.
Yes.
Anything else?
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we allow the Conservation Commission in concert with the Parks and Rec to create and post signs at Central Park restricting trail usage to walking,
Foot traffic only.
foot traffic on.
Yeah, usually what we actually post it no wheeled vehicles.
Okay.
So we don't say foot traffic only, we say no
Yeah,
wheeled
it's a
If
vehicles.
you say no wheeled vehicles, then you're opening it up to snowmobiles.
Yeah, and I'm not sure you can do it all no wheeled vehicles, because we have certain ADA requirements when we're in town,
Okay,
so. yeah.
I'm okay with foot traffic
Foot
only.
traffic. And then it's a matter of policing, and I guess that's up to you guys how to do that. So my motion's on the table.
I'll second.
All those in favor, or any comment? I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consider it done.
Thank you.
The chairman will now close the public hearing to accept the placement of signage at Central Park bike trails.
Thank you. I think our next appointment is with building, but we have time. Jack?
Do the other public hearing if you want.
Okay, should we do the cops pond? This is Phil Brogan.
Yes.
He's here.
Let's do that.
Unless objections from building a highway. Highway's not here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll open another public hearing for the DES, it's a DES public hearing on the proposed work at Cops Pond, the Cops Pond Dam. So you're up.
All right,
I've got all this stuff, but I don't know what it means.
sure. I'll talk you through it. I brought a full-size set of plans if you want them, but the small set will probably be easier at the table.
I'll roll them out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to start off with an aerial image here, which I'm sure all of you are well aware of where Cops Pond is and where the dam is, right off 109A. If you would like, I can go through the pictures, or I can just kind of dive into what we're planning to do. Are you all familiar
We're all
with
familiar.
with the site? Okay, I won't waste your time then. So, primary reason I'm here is because we're going to be lowering the level of Cops Pond about 4 feet plus or minus for the remainder of the year. We're aiming to start on August 1st. Hoping to have it, this project complete by the end of the year. Of course, depending on the weather in the fall, there's always a possibility that we will have to wrap things up next spring. But our hope is to have it back up at the end of the year. So we'll drop it about 4 feet so that we can do some reconstruction work on the dam itself. So as far as the actual work, the grading plan here is going to be the best place to see what we are doing. So I guess I'll point to things here and you all can look at your sheet or this one, whichever you prefer. So this is Cops Pond here. This is 109A up here off the sheet, and the driveway coming down in. Reggie Colby's house right here, and his garage back here. You're familiar with that. So this is the existing dam here. It's pretty much an embankment dam with a concrete spillway and a bridge in the center. What we are going to do while the water is coming down, while we're waiting for the pond to come down, we're going to go ahead and take out this bridge and replace it. So concrete's in fairly good condition, however, this does not currently carry legal loads. I understand it has carried heavy loads in the past, however, we're going to replace it to bring it up to modern loads. So we'll start by doing that bridge replacement.
Can we back up a second?
Yes, please.
Just give me a brief of why we're doing this work.
Yeah, okay, so let me back up and explain some of the problems with the bridge, or with the dam. So the bridge, as I just said, can't carry legal loads. So we'll replace it to bring that up to speed. As far as the dam, we have some seepage issues through the left side. And also we have some pretty major beaver problems. It's just a continual maintenance headache. They keep bringing branches and mud up against the upstream side of the dam, of the concrete spillway. So our crew has to keep going out and removing the branches, trying to keep things flowing. Some other issues, the way that this is arranged for the stop logs, it's very difficult for our operators to control the level of the pond when they need to. And some of the concrete down here in the bridge piers and the abutment is starting to deteriorate. So it's kind of a whole number of issues. This was last reconstructed about 1950, so we're over 70 years now. So it's due for some reconstruction. So what we are planning to do, once the pond is down, once we work on the bridge, we'll put in a 48-inch bypass pipe. So Cops Pond is going to shrink a lot because it is very shallow, so even bringing it down only 4 feet, it's going to get fairly small. So there's going to be at least be a small pond up here close to the dam. Water will flow through this 48-inch pipe and dive back into Wingate Brook. Is it Wingate or Wingate? Wingate, okay. Just downstream here. So once we have that set up, and as part of putting in that pipe, we'll put in an earth cofferdam here on the upstream side. Once that is set up, then we can go ahead, excavate down. There's so much silt and sediment from the beavers on the upstream side that we'll have to probably excavate 10 or 12 feet to just get down to the footings up here. We're going to put in a concrete spillway on the upstream side. We're basically leaving the entire existing concrete structure in place and building around it. And the reason is we don't want to take it out because that's just going to open up more possibilities of seepage. So we're trying to just leave it intact and build around what's there. So this new upstream spillway is basically going to be like a walled box. And it's hard to see here in a plan view. You also have a section view here, the spillway section, that helps you to see. So what you're looking at on the right side here is the upstream spillway. And there is a 3 by 3 foot opening underwater. So the water is going to go through this small opening. And what you see, this little square here, is basically a box that the water will come into and kind of bubble up over and dive into the spillway. And the point of that is to try to discourage the beaver activity, because that will remove the sound of the pouring water away from where the beavers actually are. We've done this on a few other sites and it's been successful, so we're hoping for the same result here. Because if water will pour over this whole spillway in a flood situation, but most of the time it's only going to flow over in this little center section. So the goal is to try to discourage the beavers from continuing to try to block up.
Excuse me.
So that's what we're doing on the upstream side. We'll also be putting in some small amounts of stone here on the banks. If you've been out there, you've seen, especially right in this area, there's quite a bit of erosion. It's kind of settling down into the pond, which is probably part of why we have the seepage issue on this side. On the downstream side, to capture the seepage, where you see the proposed contours in this area, that is what we call a filter. You can also see it right here. So basically it's going to be an embankment at a 3-to-1 slope. So we put in granular material at a 3-to-1 slope. The reason it's 3-to-1 is so we can maintain all the vegetation. We can easily mow that slope because we need to keep trees and brush off the dam to keep the roots off. The reason why we do the filter is to capture any fines that would exit the dam because of the seepage. Because when water flows through the dam, it naturally carries out the fine material, and then it gets worse and worse, and eventually your dam is going to blow out. So the reason why we're putting those in is to capture any fines. So the granular material is piping, so then we'll end up with clear water coming out through.
So what happens when the filter eventually clogs up with fines?
So the soil is designed so that it wouldn't happen for a long time, even hundreds of years. So, and the seepage is fairly minimal, so I don't expect this is going to be, it's going to take it a long time before we would have any kind of clogging problem.
Next generation will worry about it.
Exactly, or hopefully 2 or 3. But and there are cleanouts on the drainage pipes, the under drain pipes, so we can go in there and clean out. Typically you have iron bacteria, kind of that nasty, rusty looking scum that builds up in there. So we go in and clean that out and maintain it. So that's the gist of it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, who's paying for all this?
This is paid for by the state of New Hampshire.
And who maintains the dam?
DES, Dan Bureau does.
Do you put a temporary bridge in for Reggie?
Yes, so I didn't mention that. So over here, we're actually starting that work this week. We talked to Reggie, he was totally fine with us doing this. He said this is what they did back in 1950 when they originally reconstructed the dam. There are existing stone abutments on either side of Wingate Brook. And we're just gonna put down some beams and crane mats just to drive across, something up to like the size of a backhoe, not a full dump truck, but just to be able to get trucks across while this bridge is being replaced, so that Reggie can access his property down here and we can get across as needed with the truck or.
So are you gonna take the existing concrete bridge? You're gonna lift that up? Because you said you weren't gonna disturb the concrete.
We're not. So okay.
You're
So
just gonna build on top?
we're removing the bridge slab. We're not touching the concrete below that.
Okay.
So the bridge technically. Depends who you ask. It's not really part of the dam. It's kind of a separate issue. But while we're here, the bridge needs to be worked on as
It
well.
wasn't a continuous pour, was it?
No, it was not. It may be at the tops of the piers, at the abutments. Those are not continuous. We are saw cutting 4 inches down from the underside of the bridge at the tops of the piers, so we can remove that slab. But at the abutments at the ends of the bridge, that's not gonna fit. It was designed as basically an expansion joint.
In the past, the pond's been drained many times.
Okay.
Doing that revealed interesting objects like toolboxes and bicycles. When you drain that this time, will you be removing anything that's foreign to the natural environment?
That's a
Like
good question.
toolboxes, cars, and other things?
I don't think there's any of that.
We didn't think so before either.
No, I've been there.
Well,
Seen it
that's-
when it's down, whatever.
That's not generally in our scope of work. I mean, obviously, if there's something right here, then we would. You know,
Mhm.
we don't own the property on the whole pond. We just
Right.
own a little rectangle of property right here, so. But certainly, anything that we find in this area, we'll clean it up.
Thank you.
And how long is this all gonna take?
So, we're hoping to be done late fall.
And
Again,
you're-
that's based on the weather.
And you're starting in August, you said?
August 1st is when we'll start the drawdown, bridge work, some tree cutting, things like that. Some tree cutting has already started. Crews out there this week working on this temporary bridge. The bridge slab will probably be pulled out by the end of July. And then they'll go ahead and jump on building the new slab and work on it again.
Cool.
So,
Any other public comment?
No, I think it's a good idea. And I think it's very interesting when it gets drawn down, because it used to be a field. And there's stone walls,
oh, no kidding.
yeah, all around it.
Oh, wow.
When my father mowed that, in the 40s.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So was there I understand there was some type of dam there prior to 1950. Was it a much smaller pond? Or
Yes,
okay,
it was basically the brook,
okay.
some springs, but it was a field with stone walls
Wow.
around it.
Different world out there today, although in the summer it does turn green.
Well, it's a lot-
Green with lily pads.
Yes.
There's a lot of peat out there as well.
There's a
Yes.
lot of what?
Peat.
Yeah, you get farther up there, it's
When that thing's drawn down, we should get somebody with a drone and take some pictures.
Right,
a good idea.
we got a lot of those around, so
Yeah.
should be able to do that, yeah. I wish the beaver dam would come out, it's by the state highway garage. It's probably,
Oh, is there a beaver dam?
I bet it's 150, 200 feet. It goes way out around, because,
Huh, didn't realize
you
that.
know, there'd be breaks in it, so they build it more. And my house, I've lived there for 50 years, and it's a 12 to 14 foot wide wingate brook now, whereas you used to be able to step across it
Oh, I see.
sometimes, so.
I see.
So now you have waterfront, we're gonna have to reassess you.
Blew it, Jack.
That's okay.
Get rid of those beavers.
It's amazing how many beaver are trapped in there every year.
They keep
Two.
coming back.
2 years ago, 2 different people trapped over 30 beaver.
Wow.
It's unbelievable, really, the beaver that come out here. And they built 3 new huts this past winter,
Wow.
so,
They like it. Should rename it Beaver Pond.
yeah.
Any other public input? I guess you've got all your permitting done, all your
Yes.
DES, so
Yeah. Oh, and we still have to do it, believe it or not.
Okay, so I guess I'll close this public hearing.
All right.
Wish you luck on your
Thank you.
endeavors.
Would you like to keep the large plan set? You can if you could use it for your records or.
I think it'd be good to have.
Yeah, if we have
Do
one,
that with
just,
you.
I mean, we're televised, I guess, in some form, so people may want to come in and take a look.
Sure, yeah. And you all have, I can leave this copy with you if you'd like, but you all have a small set here.
Great.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope the weather cooperates.
I hope so too. We'll see.
Although we do
Never
need-
know.
We do need some rain.
Yes, for sure.
Can I have that copy of the small one?
Oh, yes.
I like
by all
Google
means.
Maps and
Yes.
aerials.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we'll be back to our regular appointments. Our first one is Building, Mr. Parsons.
To our regular scheduled program.
Morning, we have 87 building permits now, 29 new homes, I've done 309 inspections. I fixed the line in the cemetery, and that's the piece of pipe that I cut out. It's getting stretched,
Imagine that.
so.
100 PSI.
And then, we could, just for information, the building code changed from 2015 to 2018, on July 1. There is a grace period in there for projects that are on paper but not started yet, so.
Okay. And your fees have gone into effect?
Correct.
Any major pushback on
No.
that? Okay. Great. Thank you, Jack. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay, thanks. Next appointment is Highway James Bean.
Morning.
Good morning.
Our spender in chief.
Hey, Lee. Thank you.
Thanks.
That was for you, Candy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
So last time we met, since then, we cut and removed the pavement at the highway garage in the lower parking lot. And we excavated down 3 to 4 feet in the whole parking area and sorted through the materials underneath the old pavement. It was causing problems. And over 100 rocks came out of that area, all different sizes. I don't know if you guys drove by it.
Yeah.
We had big rocks,
Yeah,
rocks like this. They were just everywhere.
old land.
And we also had a lot of loam and clay type of material. I mean, truckloads were coming out of both. So the ground was just not suitable for having a driveway on it. Surprised it did as well as it did for as long as it did, to be honest with you. But we filled it back in with gravel, we rolled it, compacted it, graded it, and it sheds water away from the building now, so I think we're all good there. GMS Paving came and they completed the 5 areas that we cut out, and they patched them in 5 different roads around town that we had problems with. We also had prepped the top of Shirley Way Loop by cutting the pavement where we saw the raised spots in the pavement, and then we excavated out the rocks underneath. The loop was then reclaimed by grinding up all the old pavement and graded back into the gravel, rolled and compacted, and the base paving has been completed on that road too. It looks decent. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah, I took a ride down there this weekend. Yeah, it looks decent. I got a concern. Down at the bottom, right in front of number 25, somebody's doing some construction work there. There's a foundation in. And whatever dump truck was bringing stuff into that driveway has torn up your brand new pavement
Already.
And
It's number 25, you said?
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
well, I got a picture of it here. I'd like to share. Should have Candy printed up. See all the edges of the road right in front of the driveway and right in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like when it's hot and you turn on it,
Yep.
kind of does that.
Oh, yeah. Pretty obvious.
We'll take a look at it and see if it's something that can still be repaired. You know, sometimes
Well,
you
we're
can-
back to the beginning on this anyway, because it appears as though you've got your base paving on, which it was there
Correct,
originally.
it's not the final coat.
Right.
So hopefully next year we're going to be talking about putting a coat on it, and that will cover that, but I want to see what it looks like a little bit better. Sometimes you can run a roll over it.
Take a look at it, please.
Yep.
Federal Corners Road was also prepped, excavated out the rocks from underneath the pavement, and the shoulders were cut down and ditching was done where needed. And then it was reclaimed and paved with a base coat as well. North Line received the top coat of pavement and is completed and should be in great shape for many years. A section of Canaan Road from Sentinel Road to where the pavement ends was shimmed and paved, filling in all the traffic running. And it looks much better, and it should be much easier to plow the snow off, especially going down the steep hill into the valley. We always could get down it. Coming back up was always the hard part, you couldn't clear the snow when it got in the middle of the traffic lines. Sight lines have been cut back in several areas for stop signs and exiting. We gravelled driveways off, the gravel driveways off the pavement were shimmed up by us while we're waiting for Carroll Materials to come back to do the whole sides of the road. We did that just so that they can get on and off. People have trouble with that, and we don't know when they're coming back. They generally let the pavement cool down for several weeks before they come back, so we don't see what you have in your picture. I've seen double stop signs in dangerous intersections in other towns. One on the left side as well as the standard right side. I wonder if this might be a good idea, the intersection of Ledge Hill and 171, as well as Durgan and 171. I noticed it, to me, when I saw it, it was like, that's a great idea. So, wondering what your thoughts are and if I have permission to do something like that.
I think something's better than nothing. I also think that it's on the Ledge Hill side, the Ledge Hill stop sign is set back pretty far from the edge of the road as compared to the one that's on the Durgan side. The one that's on the Durgan side is only a couple feet off the road. The Ledge Hill side has got to be 5-6 feet.
We don't install those, just so you're aware. That's actually the state that does that. They actually maintain those stop signs, but I don't have a problem with moving it if you think that will help too. We did cut back the bush that was next to it. I am going to approach the person.
Take that sign post out of there.
That's what I was going to ask her.
I think it's in the right of way, so, but it's nice to be friendly.
Yeah, I'll ask her. She's been great so far, so.
I think it's a good idea.
And on the other side, that, I don't know what it is, a lilac or something, on the north side of Durgan to 171 entrance. We should be able to do something with that, I would hope. That really does block, you really have to pull up.
Right,
way out.
to see down.
Yeah, to see down.
Yep, absolutely.
So maybe we can approach that homeowner, although I think that's in the right of way as well, both the state and the town. But see if we can do something with that bush.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to her before we
Yeah.
step foot on the property and see how that goes with her first. But yes, I agree.
And I drive that road every day, and I see more of a problem with the Ledge Hill side, blasting through and not stopping. The dirt coming from the Durgan end of things, it doesn't seem to be quite as much of a problem. So I like the two stop sign idea, maybe on the Ledge Hill side, but I'm not sure. I suppose we could do it on the other side as well.
Could be done.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to help alleviate the situation is good.
We have to check with the state.
Right, well, the state put the stop signs up that are there now.
I know, but if we add to that,
I wouldn't hurt to ask the patrolman what's going on, and he might, send us over. Again, it would still be in the state right away, I think.
You would, correct.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we have to.
Okay.
At least ask, but it's a good idea.
Okay.
Down the road, maybe we want to try the white stop lines that say stop as well.
I was in Keene a couple months ago, and this particular road that I was on in Keene had a troublesome corner, but it also had approaching the stop sign on the road. It had white lines that tapered back probably 700 feet. Just another Just another visual cue.
I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, it caught my attention.
Yeah, and that's great. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Another 153 to 25
Rumble strips.
rumble strips.
I'm not
Yes,
opposed to rumble
that's what-
strips
yeah.
either.
I always wondered how that holds up to a plow.
Ground
They
in,
seem to
ground
be-
They're ground in, yeah, they're
Oh,
they're
they're
recessed as opposed
They're
to
not
to lumpy.
raised.
They feel raised when you go over them.
Well,
It's
they
funny.
do.
Oh, yeah, but they make a hell of a racket.
Yes, they do.
They wake you right up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, another great idea. I think if we did all these ideas, I can't imagine there being another.
Would you investigate what it would cost to rent a machine to cut in rumble strips?
Sure, I don't know if that's something you rent or you just hire somebody that does that, but,
Or would you investigate how to
Yes.
do it?
yep.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Well, I think we need a proposal put before us, and then we can really talk about it. And we can, I know if it's $100,000, it's maybe not such a great idea this year.
Right.
Right.
But if it's,
$500-600 to cut in some rumble strips.
Yeah, that'd be short money for
yeah,
somebody.
nothing's $500 or $600 these days.
You never know. I don't know. But I think it's worth
Yeah,
investigating.
bring something forward for us, that would be nice. We can
Okay,
take a look
yep,
at
good
that.
price for that. And we're gonna ask about stop signs.
While we're on signage, I don't know if I mentioned this while you were here. In front of the general store, that section of road there, there used to be a recommended, a yellow 25-mile-an-hour sign where the 35-mile-an-hour sign is. And that disappeared some years ago.
Well, once again, we're in a state road.
I can ask them about it to see if they have an answer for you.
Yeah, say, what happened to that 25-mile-an-hour sign?
We need to slow people down there.
You would have to have one on either side. I suspect that the 35-mile-an-hour sign was replaced the 25-mile-an-hour sign because the road it's a 40-mile-an-hour road. So they probably slowed people down to 35 to go through in front of the general store. But even 35 is
I agree.
a little much.
It's definitely too much for, last minute, somebody pulling out of the store or Ed's.
Or walking across the street.
Federal Corner Road.
Yep.
Speaking of which, Bob and I went to the Island meeting this weekend and talked a little bit about, after the meeting was over, when we're getting in our cars, about the crosswalk. So have you had any activity on that crosswalk project?
Yes, I think that's gonna be happening soon. I just got some paperwork. I haven't read it yet, but I just got some on my mailbox about that. That'll find out what's going on exactly.
Yeah, because I don't know, I mean, we haven't allocated funds or done any of that for that project. So
Okay,
It would be nice.
From what I understand, Matt Young donated
that's what he told me.
the design. So the design is complete, which I'm guessing is what you
I signed off on that already, yeah.
have. So now we need somebody to come forward and with a crosswalk proposal.
Yeah, it went to the state. I think that's where it's at. It's, pointed as the state's overseeing it
And you overspent this #1 project significantly. We don't have an unlimited source of capital. There is no special road fund. That's our money.
Yep,
So-
but we knew where we were gonna be up front. I told you it was gonna be
Yeah.
more, in excess of.
It just seemed as though it went a lot higher than we thought it was.
Yeah, I didn't know that the underneath part was gonna be so extensive, either all the rocks and the loam and the clay that came out of there. And I just couldn't see not doing it correctly at that point. It's just not spending money wisely if we just put pavement back over it all again.
And is that project gonna get impacted by the cell tower? Or are they going around it?
I'd love for them to go around it. There's no reason why we can't open up the top section for them to drive straight in through and just stay away from it. It's a very easy situation to do.
What was the other thing I saw?
I don't know, I have a concern.
Okay, go ahead.
I was brought to my attention yesterday by a citizen that the catch basin at the end of North Line Road, intersecting with Ledge Hill Road, now that the pavement has been done, that catch basin is basically a giant pothole.
I did
All right.
notice it was higher,
And
But it is-
seems to be a concern.
very much on the edge of the road.
Yes. However, he feels that big trucks, things like that use up the whole road, might have a problem with it. He certainly thinks that a small vehicle will bottom out if they drop a wheel in it. I don't know what you can do with it, but if you could
Where is this
alleviate
again?
that situation in any way,
North Line and Ledge Hill.
please do.
Yeah. You know how we get that big wide
Oh, yeah,
intersection?
yeah, yeah.
Way up against the bank, and there is a deep catch basin, and you're right, it got deeper. It got deeper.
I've done my due diligence, so to speak, and brought that to your attention
Okay.
from the citizen.
Well, it's gonna affect plowing as well. It's a problem for cars.
We'll just have to see, but
It's
here's the
very much
man,
against the edge of the road.
here's the man that knows
I'll
what
bank
he's
to
doing.
it.
Yeah, but if a car falls into it, are we liable?
Go back and just stick in the meter and I'll call it off.
As long as it's a passable way, I mean, it's like potholes, we're not liable for bent wheels. I mean, it's just, there's a, I don't know why I forget that term, but it's, we can't be publicly liable unless we do something egregious. So,
But, yeah, I'll take a look at it and see.
I'm not sure what you would do with it, but you're the professional,
Yeah, I mean, we can
give it a shot.
come up with something, I'm sure.
Thanks.
We'll
I'm
Put
sure
another grate on top if I have to.
that might actually do the trick. I don't know. Again, you're the man.
I think it's dangerous, just mark it, put a cone up or whatever for the time being before you fix it. So it isn't just an unmarked, I mean, it's like a culvert just to the east of my property, which is, I don't know how many vehicles have fallen into that in the last 50 years, but there's been a few. There's no marking, there's no guardrail, there's nothing. So if you drive a little too far over on the right, coming into that corner by Ham Cemetery, you're gonna go in that big hole. It's an unmarked hazard for all intents and purposes, but, and they're everywhere.
Oh,
Which bring, you know, the other question I have, but I guess that's not your purview, the lot, this side of the fire station, this side of Central Park, that I guess is sold and someone's gonna build a house.
Yeah, did you see where they cut that driveway in?
Pretty steep on a blind corner. I mean,
That's
it's
gonna be a tough
I
driveway
don't know how they
Yeah.
got
for
there.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was another location. I have to assume they have a permit for that.
The state has to. sign
Correct.
off on that
You
stuff.
have to have a permit for that from the state, but
So when you're talking to them about road signs, say, what about sight lines? How's that work?
Yeah, with all the hoo-ha that you had to go through to get the Sandy Knoll Road sight lines approved.
Oh, right, the blind old.
This is certainly worse.
They
Yeah.
This
have a
is like
state
Roy.
driveway permit.
They do have a driveway permit? Wow.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
They still have to have one?
They have one, yeah.
Oh, not from us.
No, from the state.
Yeah.
It's a state road, but I'm totally unimpressed with the fact that they're allowed to do that. Let's put it that way.
Well, maybe they're related to somebody. Who knows? That's how it works.
probably some kind of hardship that they cleaned.
Yeah, I don't know the dimensions or the lot lines of that lot, so maybe there was no other access anywhere. It just seems odd.
Mhm.
You did the repair of the ramp at the 19 Mile Beach?
Yes, we put some sand down in front of it. I forgot how that went exactly. I think it moved.
It's better, but it's still a little bit lumpy. There are some concerns.
Okay.
Do you think there's anything else that can be done?
Yeah, I can take a peek at it.
The other thing too, the chief mentioned someone actually, it looks like they bolted a diving board off of Melvin Wharf.
It's gone.
Check just
Jack-
said it's gone.
Jack
Jack
said
said
it's
it's
gone.
gone.
Oh, it is, okay.
Nice try,
It's
right?
in the back of his truck.
Flags on it, we'll try it out.
So your spent out on your warrant articles for paving? You've done all the paving?
Yes, yep, everything's completed. We haven't got all the bills back in yet, but
Right,
we'll find out where we are exactly.
okay. And there were no other specific articles for you to handle other than the paving? So we'll review maybe, all we did was Shirley Way basically on the neighborhood paving.
Yes, that went over by
I know,
26,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
It's 27.
28,000, yeah.
Okay, so we want to, probably not now, obviously, but sometime in the fall when we're budgeting, we need to start looking at,
That's next month, just saying that we
Was-
start in August.
was that enough? You know, what are we looking at for next year for paving? We obviously have to do a final coat on Federal Corner Road and a final coat on Shirley Way in the neighborhood area. But what other roads are we hitting? We're gonna be looking at, in our signature file, a bunch of contracts with HEB on design and engineering for different road projects that we're bidding, or not bidding, we're applying for grant money. So that might alter what direction we go.
That's true.
We probably need to, I mean, our thought, or my thought, and I think Bob mentioned it as well, is we need to expand our neighborhood paving a little further afield. See how, see how it works.
I'm in total agreement with that.
I think we should even back off on through roads for a year. I don't know how this is gonna pan out in the budget cycle. I don't know if we wanna spend more money on paving or equal amount, but if we're gonna spend an equal amount on paving, maybe we should back off on through roads and spend some more on.
Well, Tufton Neck is high on my priority list. Obviously, you guys make final decision, but that one's
Yeah,
very poor shape.
yeah.
It's as bad as most any neighborhood road.
Can we get away with shimming for a year? I'm not,
Yep.
for consideration, something to think about. But I think we need to spend some money on.
Well, I
some
don't
of these
think we're looking at
side roads.
$500,000 to do that deal, to do Tufton Neck.
No, I mean, it all depends what level we want to bring it to, is what it really comes down to. But we do need to do some road widening in a few areas and better drainage for sure.
Right. So you need, okay, so then all of those issues need to be addressed before you put black stuff down.
Yep.
So maybe we need to look at as increasing that budget, not increasing the paving budget.
And that- I don't know if you want to consider that a through road or not, but
Well, by definition, it's not a through road,
correct.
but it's a major road.
Yeah,
You got a lot of residences down Tufton Neck.
I know.
I know it doesn't go to a town or other destination, but there's a lot of houses down there.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the next one on my priority list, is that's bad shape. It's gonna be part fast. It's separating from the original pavement underneath is what's happening. Yeah.
okay, so we'll have a longer discussion about paving and road
Yep.
projects.
Next month, we'll do a drive around and check them out again.
Right. And I'm sure you're gonna bring a truck forward this year.
I think we should.
All right, so spend a little time out there in the marketplace and figure out how much money that's gonna be. I'm personally not at all interested in taking old equipment off of old trucks and putting them on new trucks, so let's get a fully equipped truck. And we'll need at least 3 bids. Is that, I'm not a firm believer, I'm a firm non-believer in, oh, I got a great deal from Charlie over here at his garage, we're gonna buy that one. That's not how we can do business here for that kind of money, because you're gonna spend $150,000 probably, or somewhere more.
It's gonna be over 200.
Honestly.
That's guaranteed.
Is there any way we can get into the state purchasing?
So we can. The one thing that I did try to look into that, International had the bid last year when we looked into it. And they build their own plows and bodies for some reason.
Yeah.
So we're out of plow and body. We can't get that through them. And that's kind of a big part of this whole truck, you know?
Meaning they don't supply the plow and body?
Correct, they don't supply it for us. We'd have to outsource that.
They just buy the chassis.
Correct.
Well,
Well, it's still an option for you.
yeah, it's not, it doesn't take the truck completely off the table, it just makes it a little harder to get.
There's a waiting line. I did inquire about that as well last year. Massive waiting line for bodies and plows right now.
Yeah.
And because people that sell these trucks to towns and whatnot, have already put in their, request for 500 of them. They want 100 every year,
Yeah.
So they're way ahead of us. That's the downside.
That's the case with everything. We're just a small town, trying to buy anything. But take, start your investigation,
I
figure
will.
out what we're gonna do.
And I'll bring it to you guys, and hopefully you guys will have some ideas as well, and we can find the best deal we can.
All right, anything else for
I'm set.
highways and streets? Oh, tree work's going okay? You still
Yes,
doing that?
we still, we're getting that done a little at a time. They've done some more recently, a couple weeks ago, and I think he said this week he'd be finishing up some more dead trees here and there.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you doing anything with the stumps on Duffenboro Neck?
Yes, we're definitely hoping to do that soon. The same tree company said that they can take care of that for
You're
us.
gonna grind them, is that?
Yeah, we can, we've rented a grinder before, and we've done quite a few.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty big though. We're like, wow, you're gonna be there all day on one stump with one of those rentals when they come in with like a, 200 horsepower stump grinder,
And it's still, it's really close to the pavement, you really haven't solved the problem, you just got rid of the top. You just made it easier to plow, you haven't got rid of the root structure and all the rest of the stuff that's underneath there.
Yeah, that's gotta come later.
Yeah. Turn the mic twice. All right, thanks, James.
Mr. Chairman.
Sunny day.
I would beg you to grant me a 3-minute recess for a bathroom break.
3 minutes.
Yes, please.
All right, 3 minutes it is.
Thank you.
See you, Jim.
Take care.
Hi, Steve.
On a road trip.
I'm gonna give you those. It's gonna be for the non-public. These are old ones.
What was this? Oh, 2019.
Yeah.
And what was was I here in 2019?
I don't know. That's the only thing I could find for a contract.
Oh,
Not I, Kathy.
yeah.
But at least it's something.
Yeah, this I remember. This one.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a renegotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we're at full stop. 3 minutes are up.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is Parks and Rec. Dennis Zelinka. So you're out with your canoe out there yet on Saturday?
Me?
No. They were out there. They're in the fire boat.
I didn't make the first concert because I was at the
Yeah.
airplane public hearing.
I really thought that was gonna affect our attendance, and it didn't.
Good,
Still had 180.
good.
Wow, that's
Fantastic.
great.
Yeah.
job.
So there's no commission meeting this in July. Well, so you got the month off.
Good.
The date for August hasn't been set. Of course, Brandon's very, very busy with his camp. He's getting married. So, anyway,
That's no excuse.
there's no excuse. Pause in the park report, I wish I had a printed thing for you, but we haven't met with the committee yet, but I do have ballpark figures I can give you quickly. The income quickly, we brought in about $600 from vendors, admission was $1,000, roughly, that's 200 people at $5 each, and then we probably had about 40, 50 workers, so probably about 250 at the event.
That was a hot day.
Very hot. In fact, some of the dog demonstrations didn't perform. That's how hot it was.
Right,
So
did the
that
sheriff-
hurt us a little bit. I think the time was too long. 10 to 3 is too long. Next year we're gonna cut it back a little bit.
Yeah, the sheriff's department,
They did a nice job. Yeah. In fact, he asked for a volunteer, and my grandson, who was he's Division I prospect. He was there. I volunteered him, and of course they smelled his hat. Told him to run into the woods, and then they had the dog smell the hat and went and found him, so it was good, yeah.
nice.
The raffle brought in 500, so we brought in about roughly, again, these figures are just ballpark, and I'll give you a report at the next one, the exact one. About 2,100 we brought in. The DJ expense was 500, the porta potty was 100, and the banners were 150, so 750. So the profit roughly is around 1,350. Three-way split between our organization, the Buddies, who, she did an unbelievable job. She got 35 raffle prizes. She got Winnie Potter donate 100 gift bags for the first 100 dogs, so she gets a third, and then the other one is Live and Let Live Rescue. So again, I think potentially this is a good event. I think it's going to grow, and I think we can make some money off it. So, but again, we need cooler temperatures. We had all kinds of doggy drinks and doggy pools and everything. So
Did we also get a donation of 100 buckets from the store downtown?
Bradley?
No, the pet store. Didn't they
Oh no,
donate-
that bucket was another raffle prize. I thought that was one of the 100 things, but there were 100 bags with all kinds of doggy stuff in it. But yeah, I thought the same thing when the other girl
Yeah.
dropped that off. I thought there were 100 buckets. But we saw that at our meeting, and that bucket was probably worth $20, $30.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
The selectmen, we should probably write a thank you letter
To Winnie Plow?
to those people.
Yeah, we're gonna also write thank yous to, the different people that took part. We had 3 food trucks. The DJ did a nice job. Like I say, the sheriff department did a nice job. The one dog was a trick dog, didn't want to perform.
Didn't want to do the trick.
Could it be in June? Could it be in June when it's not so hot?
We could, it was
You
June,
wanted to
it
get the
was the
turnout.
end of June,
Right.
but it was that hot day,
Yeah.
and I think it's,
So
yeah,
how many people did you have?
we had 200 pay, and it was over, I think the hours were too long.
Yeah.
But the other thing I question is, a lot of the dog people businesses are open Saturday. So maybe if you do it Sunday, maybe you get more of them involved too, so we'll bring that up. But anyway, good event. Swim lessons, you're not gonna believe, we got 49 kids. 49, yeah, it's, and Hannah is doing morning, afternoon, night classes, it's just one. Mary Ann Murray had called me twice this weekend, she wanted to see if we had room to take some of her kids, and I said no. She wanted to run some of her classes at 19 Mile. I said, you can, but you're just not gonna run at the same time as me. I don't want parents sitting there being confused, so that's going really good. The Old Home Days, again, the next meeting is July 19th, it's coming along pretty good. Gina, we all know Gina, she at the last meeting volunteered to do the marketing and do the brochure, so that was outstanding. I got 9 openings left, and I'm saving 3 for you for the dunk tank. It'll be a 20-minute gig.
And the date will be what?
It's a 20-minute,
No, the date
the date is the Sunday, the
of the
20th.
dunk tank.
It's actually, look on your thing, it's the last
Sorry.
day, I think it's the 27th, of that Sunday?
That's Saturday.
28th, 28th, yeah, 28th is the town picnic.
August, right?
I do need a signature on one of the performers, so I don't know if you guys sign that. It's just a magician puppeteer on that. But the Old Home Days, we got all the stuff ordered, the tent, we got a popcorn machine, our own, we got a cotton candy, we got the dunk tank, we got the moon bounce, we're still gonna run our kid games, we got a large Jenga game, a large 4-cross game. The camps come through with all the food. They're gonna do all the food, hot dogs, hamburgers, lasagna, drinks.
Oh, so I don't have to grill?
Oh, you've got a grill.
Okay.
They're gonna grill.
Okay.
But that was a great thing for them to do. We appreciate
They're
that.
giving us the food.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that should be a good event. The Grange is jumped back in. Like I said, the antique cars are back. Both the Historical Society, the Methodist Church, they're all in. We got that one performer again, which I need signed.
Actually, you sign it, because or Brandon signs it,
Okay.
because it's coming out of your fund. We're not
Yeah.
cutting a check.
I'm with you. Okay. As far as the beach, again, I talked to Jackie, he said the water's down about 10, 12 inches. You go out to our docks, up to your waist. It's just, we're in a tough period with water, you know. I mean, this would normally happen the end of August. But you look at our dock, swim lessons love it, the little kids go out. And they're out at the dock and, you know, it's
Like
just
big
not,
kids.
it's not that deep, so. The increased use is really, it's starting to be on my mind a little bit. Of course, the 4th was crazy. More trash, more people, more non-residents.
All right, all the people that can't swim in Wolfboro are coming to
So the
Tupperboro.
word is out on us, and again, I do get a lot of complaints about the duck hitch, about the new benches where they're not sanded, and of course they scrape up the little kid when they sit there. The trash is an issue. And as I'm thinking about it, and I was dead against it for the last 2-3 years, you know, maybe we look next year to have a person that's kind of flexible based on weather and maybe go Thursday through Sunday, but if we just use that regular parking lot for residents, and there might be, 20-something spots there, and anybody else can come to the beach, but you can't park there.
Where are you gonna park?
Well, they'd have to go across the street, or
Oh, I see, at the beach parking.
would be residents, and whether would have to get into beach passes, and that would be a budget item, because we'd have to hire someone, flexible thing, like if we looked and, you know, next 3 days are gonna be in the 90s, well, we know it's gonna be crowded. But the 4th of July, again, I'm getting complaints, all kinds of dogs down there, all kinds of drinking going on, and I'm not there every minute, and there's no lifeguards there, so I think that's something we really gotta look at, especially during the hot weather. And the majority of people there are having a ball and enjoying the beach, but, you know, you are gonna get people that are taking advantage of, you know, whether it's the drinking, the smoking, the dogs, or whatever, so. It's something we should kind of maybe look towards next year.
Well, there's already an ordinance, there's not supposed to be alcohol on town-owned property.
Yeah,
Right, but who's enforcing it? I think that's what Dennis is getting
Yeah.
at.
yeah.
Beach
You know,
police.
the other thing too, and I know we can't do it because it's a state road, but is there any way we can put signs on our property inside the fence about that angle in parking? Because some of those long things comes in with boat trailers and they take up 4 spots. You know what I'm saying? When I was putting that banner up there, you know, boom, big truck comes in and pulls this way. So I know it's a state road, but can we put signs on our property saying angle in parking? Do you know what I'm talking about, the second?
Yeah, that, right by the
Put
cabana.
signs on our property saying anything, you say no boat trailer parking, you can do whatever you
Yeah.
want there. Beach parking only.
We can do that. I had a lady actually contact me with that exact concern. She probably has talked to you as well.
She has, but I had that concern a couple of years too, for the
Yeah.
last couple of years.
Um,
I know you talk, Kathy.
It's that area along the fence,
Right.
basically. We can put anything on our fence. That's
Right.
again, enforcement always becomes an issue.
Right.
And yes, we could have an individual at the beach to try to keep people from drinking and smoking. The best that they would be able to do is if the people don't want to comply, then our person contacts the police department.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know why we couldn't put signs on the fence.
I mean, I was dead against having residents only, but maybe it can be a compromise with, we give them the parking lot. They get the convenience of pulling in and going right to the beach.
And we do have the big parking lot that's supposed to be for boat trailers and one thing or another, but I've not seen it full at any time. I'm not sure that overflow parking for the beach couldn't be accomplished. It is a little bit of a walk and you do have to cross the state road, but but people have crossed the state road and done a little bit of a walk many times to enjoy beaches or other attractions.
But I think that down the road, we gotta look at that seriously,
Yeah.
you know.
I agree.
Concerts again, I think with that big meeting we had, I thought it was gonna hurt our performances and numbers, but we did have 180.
Wow.
It was a good crowd. And we announced about dancing this thing, and then you'd be surprised how many people love dancing.
Nice.
And then the band even had little instruments, and all the kids were getting them, so it was a good night.
Did you have a food truck?
Well, we had the hot dog group from Lebanon, and I thought they did very well. And they were gonna make a decision whether they're coming back this week. So she texted me this weekend saying, can we just do ice cream? I said, of course not, we need food. I don't think that, if I don't hear from them today, then you know who's doing it this week. So anyway, we'll deal with it.
Are they cutting you in on the,
Well, no, because I had nobody.
no.
I know what you're saying about like a 10% or something.
Or whatever.
Yeah, we didn't do
Like the
anything
food
this
truck
week.
at the dog thing. I
Yeah.
mean, do they pay 100
Oh,
bucks?
no, they all donated. All those food trucks at the dog food,
Yeah.
donated that and
You're
gifts.
generating 200 faces for them to feed, so
Yeah.
they ought to give you something for
Yeah.
it.
So, I should have an answer by this afternoon from that. And they were good, I mean, they were very good, but the travel, I mean, they do the polar caves, and she said they had to leave here at whatever time they got done cleaning up, 9 o'clock, go to the polar caves, unload their hot dog truck, clean it, then drive another hour to Lebanon. So, that's an issue, it's probably too far, but we'll deal with it. But the concerts are good. Brian Hastings, our local man, is gonna be on stage with his band this Thursday. We do have a community garden cookout. I talked to the people out there, and I thought it was a great idea, so I'm gonna try and bring that back in
And
August.
that's gonna be here
It's gonna be here.
at the community garden.
Yeah. We got a special outing day coming up, a couple of weeks. What else we got? Sailing program is going really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they hold a 45-minute class at the beach, and then they take them out. But they're happy with this year, and there's a lot more attendance doing that. That's all I have.
I have a request.
Go ahead.
Budget season
Yes,
is coming,
yeah,
and we budget quite an amount of money to Wolfboro Parks and Rec for our people to enjoy the resident rate for the programs.
Correct.
Could we request from them that a list of the programs and the resident and non-resident rates? I'd be very interested in seeing how
They won't
that
do it.
works. They won't do it. Not who attends, just the programs is all I'm interested in.
that our kids take part in.
That, all the
That
ones
are available.
that Parks and Rec are available.
Oh, I'm sure we can get that, yeah.
That I would like to see.
Yeah.
That allows us to know exactly how much of a discount we're getting for a program,
Mhm.
etc., and maybe a better feel for how much money we're actually
Yeah,
doing.
I'll get you that for the next.
That would be good, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Simple, and we're not, I know they won't do a count, but that's,
Yeah,
it's fine, just let, I'm interested, that's all. Very interested, actually.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Of cool, man. It's.
No, I haven't.
I know, I've been fighting for 3 years and.
I understand, it gets tiring after a while.
And I'm willing to we've talked about this.
Right.
I'm willing to go there and talk with the Parks and Rec and the Selectmen about what we do moving forward. But if they don't want to meet and they're not willing to talk and share information with us, then I would just assume sever
Yeah.
the funds.
I
Because
mean, I was 17 grand, I'll take good advantage of that.
I'm sure
Give me
you can
that.
spend 17 grand a hell of a lot better than they can spend our 17 grand.
I guess. No, I mean, there's arguments on both sides, I know that. But that's it. Anything else?
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah,
Enjoy the
Doing well.
summer.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, you're gonna give me dates on that dump tank?
Yeah.
I have to look at my schedule, I may be available.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be.
But I don't wanna take you away from grilling either.
Well, that's your decision. You want me on the dunk tank or you want me on the grill?
No, we want you to grilling them.
After the nasty smell, you need that.
Yeah, you need that. but-
All right.
All right, I think we're gonna have Jen.
Yeah, let's get it.
Kathleen Ciarata. I don't know who that is.
I'm just bringing Kathy in because she wanted to be here when Jim was here and she wasn't, but she needs to talk to you regarding.
Right, but we need to talk to town clerk.
She's on the phone on hold right now,
All
so
right,
she'll be in as soon as she hangs up.
okay.
Hi,
Hi.
How's it going? Okay, I just need to get some money things straight with you on Jim's account. So, you originally voted to take 28,000, I think it was just 28,000 out of the American Recovery Funds for him to do the highway parking lot.
Right.
And he said that you guys had discussed getting the money out of that for whatever went over the 28. So we're at $40,052.18 just on the highway. And I have no vote officially that you're gonna take that out of the recovery funds, and I need that for traceability for the feds, because they're gonna want the minutes that state that.
So you went $12,000 over budget on that.
At this point, I didn't know he was in here already. I wanted to ask if I have all the bills for it. I don't know if
You
I.
did say it was all done.
It's all done, but I think you said you still have some bills forthcoming.
Okay, so,
For that or the paving on Shirley Way, I remember that was.
I think the paving is what the bills are coming, still coming.
okay, so that's different than this particular one. We're gonna go to that one next. So, if you're gonna take that money out of the recovery funds, I need you to make a vote that you're gonna pull recovery funds to finish the highway over the original 28,000 that you voted for. And I don't know what the change is for the 28,000. I was just gonna look for that.
And please confirm that this is an allowable use of the ARPA funds.
Nobody knows exactly what we're allowed to do with the they gave us the money, they gave us a wide,
Right.
there's not much restriction. It is, you're allowed to do infrastructure,
Yeah.
whether that's considered that. It's also repair of a public building,
Right.
so I'm assuming it's okay, but you're not gonna know till when this is all said and done, unfortunately. They gave us the money and then
The final rules have been published.
they have been, but I also was told that there could be appendixes to the final rule. It's constantly changing. I have the final rule, I printed it out, it's about this thick.
And they're not gonna get the money back from all the communities if they start nickel and diming us, so I'm not too concerned about that part of it. Well, I'll make a motion that we increase the amount coming out of the infrastructure funds by, what is it, $12,000?
I don't know if there's any more bills coming out.
Okay.
To a total, why don't you say to a
Okay.
total of $40,052.18. That's what he has spent to date.
And 18 cents, okay. A total of $40,052.18.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Or, I'm sorry. did you-
I just want to make sure that it's an allowable expense,
Yeah.
that's all. If it's.
I could call them and ask them, and they're not gonna give me a straight answer. I'm sorry, that's the truth. They're just like, well, you have to follow the guidelines. The guidelines of
The
the
problem is
neighborhood
that the guidelines for towns of our size
is
are just, they're not specific enough. If we were the city of Manchester, there would be a specific set of guidelines.
Mhm.
And plus, it's under $200,000.
If it's under a certain amount of money, even how I report it, it's not as detailed. I have to have copies of the votes and all that, but I don't have to go into I have to have copies of the bills, but they're not asking me that to upload that to the portal, they're just asking for numbers, so.
My second stands.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Next thing is, Allstate neighborhood paving,
One over.
to date, he's at $125,764.78. There was $100,000 in the current warrant, which I did put the $100,000 to that. And then there's $25,764.78. Are you taking that from the recovery fund, or where were you taking that from?
Well, I think we already voted to do that, to take it from the recovery.
I went
funds.
through the minutes and I see nothing about that, and she doesn't remember it, so that's why.
I thought, I remember that we voted on that as well, but, excuse me, have all the paving bills come in for the other warrant article? There
The
are two-
400?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not done with that, I don't think.
Okay,
I don't have that in front of me. I'm only worried about the ones that went over at this point.
well, I just don't want to keep revisiting this. So let's wait until the paving bills are all in
For the neighborhood one,
for both of them.
okay.
Because if you went over by $25,000 on the neighborhoods, you'd probably go over on the general paving.
Okay,
And we'll make one transaction.
okay,
I mean,
that
I think
works,
that would be
that's fine.
cleaner.
I just want you to keep a running track of where you are on that
Oh, absolutely.
126,000.
Right.
So you have $60,805 left at this point if you put that 25,000 into it. So, just be aware. One more thing. He's got a bill here for GMS paving. It was for patchwork on various roads. He said that you guys said you didn't want it out of the apron. He had recommended the apron monies,
Right.
which he has 12,500, the bill's 13,140. But he said that you didn't want it out of the aprons, you wanted them to continue being done, that you would make sure it came out of the special road fund. I was thinking he meant the highway grant, block grant. I spoke with the auditors and they got back to me. Your highway block grant is put on the MS 434 as an offset to your highway budget. So it's not money, extra money to pull from because that is already offsetting your, so, I don't know what special fund you want this out of. Is that getting added to this too, or what?
No, well, my position is no, it'll come out of apron, or come out of his general operating fund.
Okay, so he suggested 12,500 out of apron and the rest out of summer. Is that work with you guys?
I'm fine with it if that's his
Because he said,
suggestion.
you specifically said, no, you didn't want it out of apron, that's
Me
why he did.
specifically?
That's what he said,
That's
Chip
one of those-
said.
4:30 meeting.
Okay, so you're good with him taking it out of that?
If that's his recommendation and it's coming out of his budget, then yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to confirm all this. Because he.
Yeah, I mean, he can, just to assuage any fear he might have, that's gonna overspend his apron budget, but it doesn't mean he has to stop doing aprons, it just means that he has to not do something else, or the worst case scenario is he comes back and we look at the recovery money again. So,
As long as he doesn't overspend the bottom line of his budget.
yeah, it's cleaner if he stays in his operating budget.
Right.
Then you can track it year to year.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's it, if he goes over on the apron, we'll still put it in there, he just has to make sure he doesn't, like you said, spend money somewhere else so that his bottom line comes out.
Right.
It, according to him, it's not gonna anyway because of everything going up and he's getting slammed with that.
Yeah.
I'm just,
It's affecting everybody.
it is,
4 years ago, he went over, and there were none of those issues.
yeah,
So we have had an overspent highway budget in the past. We've
whatever.
corrected that issue, but we'll see what happens this year.
Okay.
Anything else?
That is, oh,
Eastern
Eastern.
Propane.
Eastern Propane has let us all know, I put a letter in your files, that they will no longer do the automatic fill, that if you want them to monitor it, it's gonna be $99 per year per account.
And how
And
long is
so-
how long is our contract with them?
And I imagine it ends this fall,
Okay, so we're
because
gonna
that'll go
rebuild
in the
that.
new budget, yeah.
Okay.
You may be rebidding it, but for now, neither one, not the central FD and the highway do not want to be responsible for monitoring that, because if they miss it and it goes, then it costs more money. So they want to go on the monitoring system.
And that's gonna come out of their fuel budget.
Okay. I'm just asking if you guys.
It's a fuel expense, it'll come out of their fuel budget.
Okay. Well, there are a few budgets, all of them are gonna be over because they're almost wiped out already. We haven't hit winter yet. It got wiped out in January, February, not wiped out, but pretty close. Fuel expenses, you guys know, just went through the roof. So, okay, I'll let them know that you're fine with them doing that, but it has to come out of the fuel budget. Okay.
Okay, great.
And does anybody have any questions on the encumbered funds or the American Recovery Fund?
Well, encumbered funds, what do we have and what do we need to do?
I gave you guys a list. So you have the fireproof
So I thought.
cabinets.
That,
You still got the money there. The only thing you spent is what you did to country pickers.
yeah,
So you still got $21,835.
I'd like to see that money still encumbered and set aside for next budget season to put the fire, it's not Halon, it's the
Fire suppression
The
system.
fire suppression system involved.
Well, you'll have to do that when you come to your budget time, because
Mhm.
this encumbered money, if it's not used, goes back to the general.
Yep,
fund.
yep, I'm just saying, I'm stating for the record, that's what I want to do with it.
Okay, we haven't done anything with my office yet, because, trying to get contractors. Jack's done with all his tires, you got $84 left, and 69 cents. The radios, speed printers and all that for the police, he's still working on that. The tree work has been spent, Cannon Road hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, it has, but he hasn't charged it yet.
Okay, I haven't gotten a charge yet, put that way. Great Meadows we're down to $8.55 left on that. William Road, I had a bill this week on it, but he still has to do work on that. Lake Road Design and Permitting, I don't know what you're doing with that. Is that by the wayside?
No, we're gonna do it, it's just not
Okay.
happening today.
Okay.
So-
And
And was that encumbered or is
you
that-
encumbered that fund.
Right, so we have to re-encumber that.
Okay. And then Union Wharf, you have spent the whole $10,591. So anything you're spending now with Headwaters is coming out of the warrant article,
Right.
just so you know.
Can you back up, go back up to the fourth line, 4,600 for a mini split,
Where's that one?
fourth line down from the top.
Home energy products.
Yep, that was done. You have 0 left.
Yeah.
Oh, got it, sorry.
That's okay. Some of it's been re-encumbered
Yep.
from 2020, some is,
Yep.
just was done in
Yep.
2025.
Sorry.
That's been spent and done. So that's it. The other pages are just telling you the expenditures to match the front page. You only have to worry about the front page. The back ones are just showing you my bills and that sort of thing. You good?
We're good.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jen. No worries. Hello.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Very well, yourself?
Good.
Good.
So I just want to let you know about a new law about ballot storage. So the ballots from federal elections are stored here in boxes for 22 months. So in case there's a recount, they won't look at our ballots, anything like that. There's a new RSA. Currently, all of the ballots are stored downstairs in the basement, just in an area in the back there. They are now supposed to be stored in a location under the direction of the clerk and accessible only to individuals working under the direction of the town clerk. It says towns and cities currently using shared storage space where the ballot boxes are commingled with materials stored by other town city departments are required to use a different space that is exclusively under the direction of the town clerk, or modify a section of the storage space to make it secure and place that section under the direction of the clerk. So the filing cabinets, we have extra filing cabinets now, which are downstairs, and he said we could use those filing cabinets, we just need to install a lock on those filing cabinets. So I did look up, there are locking bars that you can purchase on Amazon for $36.95. I would hopefully ask Jack, maybe he might have some input or understanding about doing that, but I would need 2 filing cabinets that are down there and just need to put a lock on it. So I just wanted to make you aware of it. I certainly can purchase it out of the town clerk budget. Obviously, I didn't budget for this, but it is a new law effective July 19, 2022 that we're supposed to have those locked. So
Makes
I
sense.
wanted to make you aware of it. I don't know if there's really any need to purchase it. It's probably going to cost less than $100 to do it, but I just wanted to make it.
And the ballots are in the file cabinets now, or they're?
They're in boxes, and they're sealed and signed and all that. It's just that they're supposed to be stored and locked so that nobody can have access to them. So I put them in the filing cabinets just to make sure that 2 would be sufficient. And I've got them in there, the ones that we have currently. I actually can get rid of the 20 general election. It's 22 months, so in a couple of months I can get rid of those. So.
Are there any cardboard boxes stored directly on the concrete?
No, they're all on shelves downstairs. Everything's on shelves, so if there ever was water, I don't think I would.
And you don't have to store any local ballots. This is just for the
I do
state.
store local ballots. Those are only required for 60 days, but these are for federal elections. They're have to be stored for 22 months. So, just wanted to make you aware. I don't know if there's anything, but
Well, we're not election officials, so that we really don't, I mean, I see it as an unfunded mandate, but if you can do it for $36, I guess we'll just
Times 2.
times 2.
wait for that fight to come up again.
Okay, so just wanted to make you aware.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen,
Hi.
hi. The Mirror Lake Boat Ramp milfoil signs.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me this morning. And I'm the recently elected president of the Mirror Lake Protective Association. But I've been on the lake for about 43 years. And although we haven't had direct contact with one another, I do want to thank you for over all of those years, and especially in most recent years, for all the support, and I assume you're Jack, all the support that you've offered to Mirror Lake, and you seem to understand, sometimes even more than we do, what our conservation needs are and how to protect the lake and the land around it. So I very much appreciate your leadership in that area, and then your support when we're trying to do things. So thank you. Your work is not unnoticed out there, even though you might not know the individuals involved. But one thing that I noticed at the Wolfboro town docks, when they redid them, they put signs, they painted them directly onto the pavement where the boats are launched, and I did bring a picture of it. And it says, the sign says, stop the spread of milfoil, check your boats. And it's at every little launch. I don't know if you've noticed them or not. But
It passes around. And they have lake hosts.
Yes, yes.
And is there a lake host at the,
Yes, yes. However, you know, they're not there all the time.
Right.
So we do the best we can. It's hard to encourage people to do it, and then you're supposed to match it with volunteer hours. And we do pretty well with it, but it's probably not sufficient. So one thing that I was thinking, in Wolfboro, they're doing that at all their boat launch sites. And I thought we've tried through the Water Summit to be consistent in the message to all lakes in the area and lakes in New Hampshire. We also are involved with the New Hampshire Lakes, and we go annually to their big congress in Meredith. So we're trying to get the same message across. So I'm here today to ask you, I did borrow the stencil from the Highway Department in Wolfboro. And what I would like to do is have a volunteer who's already stepped forward to paint that same message on the launch on 109 that goes into Mirror Lake. I measured it, I took the stencil, and it does fit, even though our launch is pretty small, but it does fit, and that's what I'm here to ask to do.
so it's on the cement portion of the
Yes,
launch?
there is a cement, I don't know if it's actually cement or some hard surface.
Okay.
There's both down there. There's cement closer to the water and it's asphalt from above.
Asphalt, that sounds
Yeah.
more like it.
Is there any concern about doing it within the state's right of way?
No, I don't think a boat launch is in the state right away. At the launch ends up in the state right away, but I think at the lake side.
And you want to put this on the, right close to the water line?
No, not close, it's closer to the road. It's just something that as you pulled in, you would notice it. And it was interesting when I was trying to measure to see this, because it's a pretty big stencil, I didn't know if it would fit. There was a fisherman there, and you know, I was kind of in his way, so I offered move, and he was annoyed that I was there, and said, "What are you doing?" And so I explained what I was doing. And he said, "Well, I've been coming here for 17 years, and what is milfoil?" And I thought, oh, that's very revealing to me, because we have found the fishermen through our Lake Coast program to be really cooperative and knowledgeable. But just as a little sample, a man who's come 17 years, he didn't know what milfoil was. Where's a picture of this milfoil? And so we talked about posting a picture, and we do have little brochures there, but he didn't find that satisfactory. But I liked that feedback, because it indicates to me, just because I've been talking about this for years, doesn't mean this is common knowledge to people, of course. So it was a good reality check.
I support it in concept. I'm just concerned about putting signage in the state's right of way.
Well, I don't know how close to the road would you have to be. I mean, is that a,
Well, the ramp itself isn't that close to the road, so you
No.
have to like get off, and then
back end?
I'm gonna say it's midway between the shoreline, which of course changes, and the road. It would be about halfway.
I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah.
No, I don't either, actually, even if it's, I mean, I don't think you're ever gonna get to the point where it's problematic for drivers. And that's what the state's concern is.
Oh no, honestly, I don't think people really notice it. That's the thing, to get people to notice it. But
Right.
if you were launching your boat, you'd notice it.
Yeah. And you don't think a sign on the fence that's there, I think that fence is still there, isn't it?
There's no fence, but there's a sign. On the tree.
Fence is a neighbor's fence. There's a sign on the
it's a
tree.
neighbor's fence.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
So basically, you're asking permission to label the boat ramp.
Correct.
Yeah, with a warning.
Yes. I make the motion that the Board of Selectmen accept this nice lady's proposal and allow her to do that at no cost to the town.
The Mirror Lake Association, I'll second and just modify it to say the Mirror Lake Association.
Agreed.
Part of it. Any comments?
No, I made mine.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
You're free to,
Yeah.
get Banksy out
Try to
there.
notice it sometime when
Make
you
it
go,
interesting.
when you go by.
I tend to notice trailers that are parked there, which are not supposed to be, more often than not.
I know.
However, we don't seem to be able to police that
I
effectively.
know.
No, there's a Mercedes that's been sitting down at the 19-mile pier for a week. And I guess we're not policing that either.
Why is it still there?
It's still there, it was there yesterday too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
thank you.
And thanks again for all
Enjoy
your
the
work.
summer.
You're welcome.
All right, the next order of business is signature file. First item is a right of burial for section G, lots 10 and 11.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next is a tax yield levy for $796.03 on map and lot 70-1-10.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And this is two signatures. Or maybe it's three. Jesus. What's this one? No, it's different, I'm sorry. And the next is an intent to cut for map 50 lots 112, 114, 115, and 116.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there 5? 5.
And that is finally the mitigation plan underneath it that I just got on Friday at 5 o'clock. So you had those before and you wanted to wait until we got the mitigation.
Okay, so,
Hazard mitigation.
right. So we've gotten from the Lakes Region Planning Commission the hazardous mitigation plan update for 2022. So that was the last item needed for our grant applications for highways, Ledge Hill Road culvert, Sodom Road, drainage, Curtis Road, some drainage there as well, Union Wharf culverts, and Canaan Road culverts. So these are all hazardous mitigation
Grant applications?
well, these are all letters of agreement with HEB
Oh, okay.
to submit for the grant, manage the grant if the money comes through. So we're hiring them to do this.
Good.
And it's not any different than the CDGB grants where the grant actually pays for the engineering.
I see.
So I have 5 letters of agreement on those 5 projects to go along with this hazardous mitigation update.
I make a motion that we sign those 5 letters?
And it only requires 1 signature.
Oh, I make a motion that the chairman be allowed to sign those 5 letters.
Second?
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm not gonna hold you guys up, I'll sign them after the meeting. And
Not fairly well.
the next is action items. We talked about the Eastern propane letter, which was the first action item. And the other was for the federal bipartisan infrastructure law provides an unprecedented $375 million in funding for Environmental Protection Agency to develop 2 grant programs that will benefit municipalities. One for solid waste infrastructure and the other for recycling, education, and outreach. In addition, the EPA will be developing a model recycling program toolkit of battery collection best practices and voluntary battery labeling guidelines. NRA will be submitting feedback to the EPA to inform the development of these programs, and we would like to hear from communities in New Hampshire. So have we forwarded this to?
Yes.
Okay, this has been forwarded to Chris Rule, our director of environmental quality. And hopefully he'll apply for education funding.
Is it strictly education funding, or is it?
No, well,
are there
we don't have any.
Is there any infrastructure funding?
We have some infrastructure. It has infrastructure funding. I'm just not sure we had an infrastructure project.
Scale.
We can bring it up. I'm not ready to talk about that right now, today. But if you want to get with Chris and put that together as a possible grant application, then let's get the figures together and take a look at it. Because the grants are generally not 100%, which isn't a killing part of the deal. But what are the parameters? Is it an 80-20 split? Is it a 90-10 split? What is the split? And are there limitations on what you can do with it?
Well, just a few weeks ago, we talked about, during our
Right.
pricing, we talked about there being a scale, and one of the things that you mentioned, not going forward with the scale, is because it didn't pan out monetarily for the town. But if we can take advantage of the grant opportunity.
You're covering your capital costs with grant money.
Mhm.
You're not covering your ongoing expenses. So we need to look at all those things put together to see if we want to get to do that. I mean, I'm not opposed to scales. It just didn't work from the standpoint of how much money you had to spend to get it, and then how much it costs to run it. So, I'd love Cammie send a notice to Chris Rule that let's reopen the discussion about scales with regard to this grant. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Correspondence. In correspondence. Board of Adjustment is noticing a hearing on Wednesday, July 20th for people to come to if you want. They want to impede or impinge on the front setback or lakefront setback. We've got a application for a wetlands dredge and fill permit. This is not for us, for a private party. Chief Shigori has been awarded the NRA Range Safety Officer certificate. Civilian response and active shooter events sponsored by the Lakes Region Winnipesaukee Sportsman's Club, Signage Police Department, Wolfboro Police Department, Tuftsboro Police Department, Marlboro Police Department. It's going to be at Multnomah Academy, July 30th. Environmental Services has given a forestry permit for Tuftsboro Tax Map 46, Lot 12 and 13. Culvert replacement, Tax Map 2 and 1. Board of Adjustments decision of the appeal of Robert Roriston and Sarah Bird for a variance regarding section 4.2 of the zoning ordinance has been granted. New Hampshire DES wetland application for tax map 25, lot 1, 1415 Little Bear Island. That's our correspondence. Selectmen's update. Not needing to hear about the events of Eastern Europe. I guess we'll skip over Mr. Pike.
I have others.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Go ahead.
It was brought to my attention that last week, a young man and his children were catching hornpout off the Melbourne Wharf after dark and were reported, and the police escorted them off the Melbourne Wharf, since our sign says that it's not to be in use after dusk.
Isn't it the best time to catch hornpout?
It's about the only time. However, the sign and the ordinance apparently says that there should be no one on the wharf
Okay,
after
I
dark.
heard the story a little differently.
okay? I heard it from the horse's mouth. So, what did you hear, and how do we move?
That it was not a Tuftonboro police personnel that did that.
Well, one of our officers has actually said yes, it was.
Okay. So
Okay.
I was
However,
disappointed.
the ordinance is a bit restrictive. Between the Union Wharf and Melbourne Wharf, it's about the only place the public could go and catch one about these days. And as our local people know, you don't catch a lot at high noon. Let's put it that way. It's usually after dark when they tend to congregate around these wharfs and lay eggs and monitor those. What, if anything, can we do to allow people to do that? And going forward, what more privileges can we take away from our citizens at this point in time? I'm not really happy about this. It's obvious that the person who had the issue didn't go over and see what was going on. The children that were there were supervised by their parent, and a man's feeding his family. They're going to eat the hornpout. They don't just catch them to catch them for sport. This is getting to be a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. However, I'm willing to entertain any conversation and suggestions that the other two board members might have. We need to be able to do something.
Hyperbole aside, I think what needs to happen is probably Parks and Rec, who manages that asset for the town, needs to figure out some signage or some change to the signage that would allow for night fishing. Maybe it's a fishing permit, not a paveboard permit, but just a notification, because part of the issue about use of the docks and the beaches at night is safety. And we either have to say, okay, all bets are off, you can do whatever you want, and hope that nobody gets hurt, or we can try to mitigate that in some other fashion.
Well, I understand the intent of the sign, by all means.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure that that sign's intention would include the
Well, you
prohibiting.
can't, I mean, if we had signage that addressed every single
No.
minutia of life,
We can't do
the
that.
signs would be enormous.
But
So we need to, I mean, I didn't realize there were hornpout in Melbourne Bay.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like an odd environment for them.
well, they had evidence that there was.
At any rate,
Yes.
it may be just a matter of getting like you would a burn permit, let's say, just to put the town on notice, or the safety police, et cetera, on notice that, there's gonna be somebody at the dock using the dock for fishing
Yep.
at night. I mean, that may solve the issue. I don't know who the complaining party was, so I don't know what their issues are as far as, I mean, a lot of times you get complaints from neighbors because they wanna declare ownership
Right.
when it's town property and they
Well,
have,
this,
and so
I'm,
they have a riffraff down there using the lake.
knowing the age of the children, I'm sure they might have squealed and been excited to catch a fish and noise was heard.
It's noisy down there at the beach all the time, I mean.
I know that, but after dark, it's unusual to hear this. But I just think that this is getting ridiculous, that's all.
Well, I don't, having,
My opinion,
I know, I'm well into my 6th year here,
yes.
and this is maybe one of 3 overreaches that I've witnessed.
Mhm.
So it isn't as if this is some sort of massive government overreach on controlling people and doing all the rest of the stuff. It is just a situational problem. We need to address that.
Well, going forward, how do we address it?
I think we need to address it through the signage, and the signage is put up there by either Parks and Rec or the police department.
I think Dennis is still here.
Yeah, maybe we can chat with Dennis and have him come up with something.
Want me to see if he's still here?
Sure. Yeah, we might.
Okay.
Great.
I mean, I would think that's the easiest way to do it. I'm not gonna make a blanket proposal. You can propose one, you're fully empowered to do that. A blanket proposal for any usage that people want to put the wharf to at any time of the day.
Well, I agree with you that a blanket is not appropriate, but
Right.
a horn pound, I mean, let's get real.
Right, but, what
I
if somebody
know.
says, Okay, yeah, but what do we do with that white perch in your basket? You know, what's that all about? You catch white perch at night too.
Yes.
So I don't know that we want to get into specific fish species.
No, not at all.
No, but I just can't believe that such an incident occurred and that someone was actually bothered by it, which is a traditional thing. It's as traditional as parking across the street from the general store. Maybe more traditional. I'm sure it happened before there was parking.
He's gone.
He's gone.
So let's see what we can do with Dennis then.
Yeah.
And then get the word out to the public that this is an approved use.
Well, I'm sure that we don't want people actively using the beaches, swimming, making noise, splashing around, whooping and hollering after sleeping hours.
Yeah, it's not party central.
No. And with the influx of Wolfboro, I don't want to specify Wolfboro, but people that cannot use the Wolfboro beaches coming to Tuftonboro, we may see more activity at night. So, you know, we still have to keep that in mind, but certainly shouldn't be restricted.
It's not a fish and game restriction of any kind. That's perfectly legal to fish for horned pellet and white perch at night.
Right.
It's not, the only violation here, so to speak, victimless crime, was the fact that the man and his kids were horned pelleting off the end of the dock with a sign said, "Not after dusk."
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
And I even think the police department could have used discretion that they didn't. But we'll talk more about the police department in a few minutes, believe me. Again, if Dennis will come down, maybe we can work something out.
He's not
He's
here.
not here.
He's not here, okay. Well, maybe we need to bring that up at the next Parks and Rec meeting. Our representative can speak
We're
to
gonna have
that.
one this month. So
I know, it won't be until August, but August is not that far away.
Let's bang around. We're gonna meet next Monday anyway, so let's see if there's any other.
We're not meeting next Monday, we're meeting 25th, I think it is. No.
You not meet next Monday?
It's the 18th, isn't it?
We don't meet till the 25th.
Right. Police Department. I was able to watch the last meeting, and I am vehemently against our police department providing security details for Camp Belknap. I feel that the security threat that they are citing is basically a figment of their imagination. And I think the real security threat is to the property owner on Farm Island, whose building has been messed with more than once, and certainly over the last decades. What I think this does is that it just strengthens their idea of a security threat, and it also implies that the Board of Selectmen are in agreement that there is a security threat, which I don't believe there is.
Okay.
Well, I expressed my concern last week that just out of principle, legal principle, I don't think we should be participating in a paid security detail at the camp.
Right, and we discussed the conflict there.
Yeah.
As far as
I stand by that.
As far as weighing in on whatever Farm Island issues there are or property owner issues there are, I think
Right.
that's just your opinion.
I agree.
don't think, and they're in court, they can settle it in a better venue than here.
Yes.
It's not a political issue.
I just want the public to know that I do not support the police department providing security details.
I
Okay,
can't make
go
that
ahead.
clear.
All right.
I think we do need to have the chief in about the security details only from a conflict standpoint. My understanding was that he wasn't doing that, that the security company had a week problem during 1 week, and now he's not doing it. So he has been asked to go back. But I'll verify whether or not he's gone back or not.
I would not have a problem with them doing that in civilian clothes in their own vehicles without town advertisement. The security detail is doing it that way. That's a whole different story in my opinion. What I just think that it implies the town's agreement that there is indeed a problem. I have no problems with the traffic details. Those obviously on Chase Point Road are a concern sometimes,
Right.
but this is one that bothers me. too much.
Well, you may have come up with your own conclusions about the circumstances. That's your position. That's fine.
true.
All we can do here is say, is it appropriate for our police department to be somehow a party to the security issues at Belknap, whether or not they exist or not? And, or should they remain a neutral party? And our position, I think, last week was that they should remain a neutral party. They can do,
Both publicly and privately.
they can't be policemen, no, because and that's another issue that's gonna come up, and it's gonna be a killing issue pretty soon, is that you cannot take your skills that we have provided you with, and your armament and everything else, and go off and do something with it outside this venue. When you're hired as a police officer in Tufton, that's who you are.
Right.
You wanna go off and work at Walmart during your off days, that's fine. But you're not gonna be working someplace else in a private security or whatever situation without our express approval. And that's just how it's gotta be.
Well, I wouldn't have even brought it up except for I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I would have brought it up then. And
Well, I don't think we need to get in the middle of that argument. If you want to get in the middle of it, you can. But we don't need to get in the middle of the Farm Island, Belknap, and the property abutters arguments. Those are
well,
a
again,
total waste of time for the Board of Selectmen.
right.
There's nothing we can do about it. And we're not a party, so we don't have any standing.
Mhm.
So
Good with it.
it's,
Thanks for letting me express my
yeah,
opinion.
no,
and concern.
you're fully welcome to do that. I just want to make sure everybody out there in
Everybody knows.
TV land knows
Right.
it's Guy's opinion. And
Sure.
I mean, I have the same opinion, but it's just not,
Well, and it does seem to me a little incongruent that security patrols are done on Chase Point Road when the easiest way for anyone to come up and violate the camp's property or rights or anything is from the water and an easy escape. It's just ridiculous. But then again, that's my opinion.
Are the three of us in agreement that the police in any shape or form should not be doing security detail at Camp Belknap? This is not a motion, this is just a general question.
I don't think I could make it as broad as that. And
Well,
make
have
it-
we seen evidence that convinces us that there is a security need?
We don't need to define that. That's not our job. It's the police's job.
Exactly.
But I think
But there is a
I would-
conflict.
I would be willing to say we could be in favor, the three of us. I mean, the two of you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't want to make it so broad as to say no security details for Camp Belknap for any reason, because it's just, that just is too broad. I would be happy to say that, because then they would be doing traffic, which has nothing to do with interpersonal conflict.
Mhm.
You know, I would be happy with not getting involved in that conflict between the two property owners in any form.
I think that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
I know we have to do
Right.
traffic,
And that would be
but
my
that's a
concern.
Tufton Borough role, not a camp role.
I'm sorry?
But that's a Tufton Borough role, not a related camp role. Well, it's related to the camp, but it's not
All right.
for the camp.
I mean, I think it's gonna go away pretty quickly, but maybe it isn't. Who knows?
Right.
So I'm worried about it. So I'm not sure if you were looking for a vote or if you were just looking for a position.
Just a position,
Okay.
and I think we made it clear that the three of us are basically in agreement.
I think, and that's a first step. I think it's a good first step. If it gets worse or it goes in the wrong direction, now we can vote.
We may, yeah, I agree. Yep.
They have a,
And I think the chief understands our intent.
yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
I've had a contact that may have a proposal to help with our situation with waste oil at the transfer station. I haven't been able to get back in touch with them yet, but I intend to pursue that. If there's a way we can get rid of waste oil without spending a lot of money or any money, that would be a good thing, don't you think?
Yeah, we're still charging for for disposal.
Right, but I'm going to get together and check out this fellow's proposal with you.
Oh, get Chris Rule involved with it too.
I will. Oh, definitely. Once I know what's going on, we'll put this together and see if we can do something better.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I have at the moment.
Robert?
I attended the public hearing Thursday night on the Pier 19 seaplane petition. I don't know if I would use the word interesting. There were a lot of statistics thrown out. There was a lot of hyperbole thrown out. I heard facts from both sides. I know my personal position on the whole affair, but essentially it's in the state's hands. People have 7 days to still submit written testimony to the state, and then there's a 30-day period where the state reviews that information, and then a decision will be made.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically a fact-finding public hearing, and that's about it. The place was packed.
Yeah, I heard it was hundreds of people.
Packed.
I'm not sure what the makeup was, how many were-
Easily 75% against, 25% supporting seaplanes.
Right. So the supporters are, I mean, I don't think we have that many seaplanes in town, so they must have come.
There's only 30 registered seaplanes in the state,
Really?
compared to 111,000 registered boats in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the number of boats on 19 Mile Bay is a lot.
About 350.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of statistics came out, right, Joe?
Heard it all.
Heard it all.
Okay, anything else?
What have you got?
Okay, went to Island Day on Saturday and had some good discussions about any number of things. Broadband reassessment or reevaluations, different things that are going on the pier at 19 Mile Bay. And Island Trash Day is this Friday. So we chatted about that a little bit, chatted a little bit about the use of the interior of Cow Island. And we need to, I think, probably in the same league as the horn pouting from Melvin Pier, we need to come up with a permitting process for camping. There's a fire permit that's necessary if you go out there that you get from the fire department. We were approached about camping on Cow Island, and there's a trail system of sorts. So just so we know who's out there, and once again, it's not to over permit or put the thumb of government on people's heads. It's so that we know who's on the island. So if there's a complaint or an issue or somebody calls, at least we know who they are and where they're from, what their phone numbers are, etc. So it's just, or if somebody gets lost or hurt or whatever, it's just a good process to have.
Yeah.
We don't have rangers, so it doesn't like, somebody in a three-cornered hat checking in, so.
Don't we
Another-
kind of have that?
Oh, sorry?
Don't we kind of have that with the permits that we have? We get their phone number and their name, and
Right,
where they're
but
going
do
on
we
the island.
issue camping permits?
No.
No, parking permit.
No,
Parking
this
is
is for
fine.
camping
Okay.
on Cow Island. So this would be another, I think you could probably fit it into the same box as the parking permits.
I think there would be some guidelines, I don't want to call them rules, but there would be some guidelines attached, like, take out what you take in, that type of thing. Be
Right,
respectful of
where
people's
you can
property.
burn, we need to figure out
Right.
that aspect. And, a great, as I said, a great Eagle Scout project is mapping those trails and putting a map together.
Yeah, we learned over the week, Saturday, that there are a lot of trails over there. There's public trails over there, but
I'm aware of that through the conservation.
But there's a lot of side trails that are private.
Yes.
And some of the residents are concerned about people accidentally going out of bounds, so to speak.
I've also, in the past, been asked to speak to Jack about the fact that people have gone out there and actually cut firewood off of the town property.
Right.
And literally, firewood, not just camp firewood, trees, everything. And So it's being an island, of course, it's super hard to monitor and police. But we can certainly set up guidelines and try. I know a bunch of the people that go out there that are really conscientious about the stuff they do. However, you don't know when they're going unless they get a fire permit.
Right. Island Trash Day.
Yeah.
Does the town pay for this dumpster?
Yes.
Why do we pay for a dumpster for people to have a day to bring their trash over?
So that it's taken care of reasonably. It cleans the islands up. It keeps the center of Cow Island from becoming a trash heap or any other number of places. It is a service that works for large items that island residents have a harder time than land-based residents would have in getting it to the transfer station.
Well, they got it up to the island on their own. They should be able to get it back from the island on their own.
Most of the time, in the larger items, they didn't get it out there alone. You know, some barge brought it out, some contractor brought it out.
Yeah, because they paid it, and then because they
paid
wanted it
that
out there.
Yeah, they paid to get it out there.
They should be as responsible to bring those items back, is what I'm getting at. I'm not so
I'll certainly
sure.
entertain a motion, but it's not gonna pass.
No, I'm not gonna make a motion, I just want to express a concern that I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I think we're providing a service that is nice, but hardly necessary.
This isn't the first time a similar issue has been brought up. In the 70s, the issue was brought up was, why do we need a fireboat? They choose to live on the island, it's their responsibility. And the town voted to provide them with a service that we provide to all the land residents, or as much as we could by having a fireboat. This is kind of similar in my opinion. We're giving them a little bit of a break. The cost in the overall scheme of things, I think is minimal. So I actually favor the idea, and I certainly like Chip's mention of the fact that it prevents the town property out on Cow Island from becoming a trash dump. And I think anything we can do to preserve that is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the 50s, people would throw stuff out in the middle of the lake.
Right.
It's a deep lake, who's gonna ever find it? I mean, it's to encourage people to be responsible, and I think, you know, the town's just playing a small part in that, actually.
Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
That's all right. Well, you know, it's like when you start out, you can get kind of cranky about some things, but then when you live through it for a while, you find out, well, maybe I could get cranky about something else. Or there are some issues that really do need to be addressed, and sometimes we have to. And there's never a codified or documented reasoning train for how did we get here. So you have to have some sort of historical perspective of how we get there. I mean, it's like we have a cost for disposing of certain appliances and things at the transfer station, which I think is a disincentive for people to take it to the transfer station. So I'm not in favor of that revenue stream. But it's primarily based on me owning property that has access roads where I find a washing machine or a television or some other piece that some guy didn't have the $20 to get rid of it, or the $5, or just was a free stater and decided he didn't want to pay government anyway. So it ends up on my property, and then I got to take it up there. So those arguments, I think, are still to come. That, you know, what's our fee structure at the transfer station? What do we want to do about all of that? So, do we have any other business?
Oh, yeah, I've been prompted, my memory being what it is. Prior to Bob's coming on board, we had talked about the Camp Northwoods Road.
Yeah.
And that we might discontinue plowing that and doing things for them. Do we need to revisit that? We haven't done anything with it. Might want to explain to Bob what's going on.
Right. I think, well, first of all, we probably need a public hearing. There's a process to discontinue the road, so we'd have to go through that process. The motivator for going through that process is the complete absence of payment in lieu of tax money from certain camps. They're not participating in the community. They're not paying their fair share. They're not paying any share. And yet, the town provides fire protection, police protection, and soon broadband internet connections. And in some places, at some of these camps, permanent housing for their employees and road maintenance. There's certain parts of it that we have no control over, fire and police, for instance. We do have control over our roads. The only user of that road that I know of, and that's why I have a public hearing, is Camp Northwoods. Well, if they're not gonna participate in the community, maybe that needs to become a Class 6 road, and they can deal with it. So that's the background. We haven't had a public hearing on it, we haven't voted on anything. It's just, and I think in fairness, and I don't know why we need to be fair, but in fairness, we need to put them on notice that we're gonna do this. And then their Boston attorneys can come up and tell us all about how stupid we are. But there's a process we'd go through. All towards some sort of participation in local municipal governance, that they participate as citizens. That's the motivator.
So, is this a private road or
No, it's a town road.
It's a town road.
We can't discontinue private roads.
No.
So it's a
I'm
town
sure we
road.
wouldn't even be having this conversation if it was a private road.
Right.
And there's no other there's no residences down there.
Not that I know of. I mean, check, is there, Jack?
Residence, private?
Yeah.
No, there's people that live there, their kids go to school and stuff like that full time.
Yeah, but those are.
But at the camp.
At the camp, but there's no
Those
private
are-
residences.
Those are
no.
camp residents, right?
It's a benefit offered to them, but they can't.
Same with Sentinel Lodge Road.
Yeah.
There's no private residences there either.
Yeah.
Mara Vista there is, so.
Do we plow Sentinel Lodge Road?
I don't know.
Is Sentinel Lodge a Class 5 road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maintained as well.
And we do.
Yeah, so that's a maintained road.
Well,
Yeah, what's good for the goose is good for everybody.
right.
So this is a discussion that we should have at some point.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at the process hard enough to figure out whether or not we need to bring it before the town, but I don't think we would. My recollection is we don't need to bring it before the town.
just wanted to kind of get Bob up to speed a little bit on what was going on with that. I don't know what triggered it, but believe it or not, while I was gone for 18 days, I did think about town business and things going on in town.
I mean, I ran, not to get conversational here, but I did when we went to the meeting or the picnic, if you want to call it that, at Belknap. I did mention to Seth, there's absolutely no reason for any child in Tuftonboro to have to worry about paying for camp. They should all go to camp for free. All of them. Any kid that wants to go to camp in Tuftonboro should go to camp for free. Not fill out a ton of forms, not apply for a scholarship, not get on a waiting list, none of that. All of those kids should have the ability to go to camp for free. Not be in 1 week when it's just the resident riffraff that are there, but are fully integrated into the camp population. I think there's might be 25 kids in Tuftonboro that are camp age.
My grandson's one of them.
What is the cost of doing that?
It has to pay to go
Increase your tuition cost to all these out-of-state kids by $1, and you'll probably profit from getting these local kids camp. So it's something like that. If you don't want to give us money, payment in lieu of taxes to support fire and police and the other road components of our budget, then do something. And a town picnic doesn't do it for me, and I hope he's watching this. Town picnic doesn't do it for me. The cooking wasn't that great little function hall, I'm sure. That's not, donating the food to Old Home Days doesn't do it for me. That's not enough effort. So and I'd love to meet with their board of directors, because I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with their director. camp director. I think we need to meet with their board of directors. I think as far as Northwoods is concerned, we need to meet with their board of directors.
Well, there is also it's local, but there is a Camp Directors Association.
Yeah, and I went to that.
And I don't know how that works out. You've been there.
I've been to that, and half of them show up, the other half don't show up. The ones that do show up tell me how little money they're all making, how hard it is to make a living, and nothing else really happens. And then I hear from the director at Northwoods that her attorneys in Boston eliminated all but the last letter of pilot and the first letter of payment and taxes. So those are the only two letters they understand in that payment in lieu of. They could look up in lieu of in Black's Law Dictionary and have a full explanation of what that means. But they
don't.
They don't. But maybe they do. They're just being Boston lawyers. At any rate.
Interesting. Okay, well, Bob's up to speed now.
You up to speed, Bob?
Sure.
Okay. Any other business? Do we have a non-public?
Yes.
Okay, what is this non-public about? What is it based on? Is it reputation?
Yes,
Is it
it's right there.
contract?
C is reputation.
Is it C?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public RSA 91A:3, Roman number 2, parent C.
I'll second that.
I'll third that.
Alby, yes.
Pike, yes?
Murray, yes.
All right. I need to stretch.
Joe.
Thank you.